For today's wrap, I've been asked to talk about negative gearing. Negative gearing is not a reward for rich people who are investing in property. It is a fundamental state of the Australian taxation department that one can offset expenses against income received. And if the expenses in producing that income are more than that income received, then one is able to offset that against one's own income. So if with properties or businesses in which people invest, if the negative gearing is removed from that, it will necessarily mean that people will not be investing in that sort of investment or that sort of venture, which would necessarily mean that there are going to be fewer people taking a chance and starting their own business if they are going to lose money initially in that venture. I don't think anyone ever buys an investment intending that they will lose money in the long term, but sometimes it's necessary in the short term to actually invest in something, but the expenses in the early times will outweigh the income that is produced. So if the talk about removing the tax deductibility and negative gearing, if that comes about, necessarily people are either going to need to make their properties positively geared, which means raising the rent, which we can see what a detriment that would be to the rental market, or it would mean that investors aren't going to invest in investment properties. And I think that we all understand that we need rental accommodation for a number of varieties of people, and it's not necessarily poor people or young people, but many people rent. And we are going to have in Australia a lot of people who will rent for their whole lives, a lot of people who will choose to rent. So people need to be encouraged to buy properties as an investment so other people can rent them. And there is a huge danger that if we remove negative gearing, that we are going to discourage people in investing in the property market, which is certainly not what we want. The property market does increase the building and construction, and with so much of the manufacturing offshore now, I think that a lot of our Australian economy is relying on the building industry to actually produce our wealth. And it's economically good that we do see the cranes around Melbourne and that the building is forging on. So I think removing the negative gearing aspect of the taxation would probably result very badly and have a very detrimental impact to the Australian economy in general.